The global production of food is responsible for a quarter of greenhouse gas emissions. Singapore imports more than 90% of our food, with meats such as pork, beef and fish having the largest carbon footprint due to transportation by air. In 2019, the government announced a 30 by 30 goal to produce 30% of food locally by 2030. Locally produced vegetables and fish have a significantly lower environmental footprint, mainly due to reduced transportation requirements. In this second episode on sustainable eating, we visit fish farm Ah Hua Kelong and Michelin-starred restaurant Labyrinth, which champions local produce.
Basically, we are a farm where we focus on farming basically local produce on sea, open waters, fishes like barramundi, pearl groupers, things like that. We farm it here. Then our aim here is to bridge that gap between locals and local seafood. This was from 7 years ago when nobody knew that farms existed, and then we just reach out to as much locals as possible. Some farms like to focus on a certain species. For us, we like variety because when I sell something to households for a period of time, they get bored, right? We have barramundi here, which is aka your kimbat law or sea bass. We have pearl grouper, which is a hybrid of tiger grouper and Queensland grouper. These are not found in the wild. These are clinically formed, and then the fingerlings come in, then we just grow them up. Then we have Queensland grouper, which is a humongous one, and then we have mangrove jack, we have the threadfins, as well as red snappers.
Ah Hua Kelong has a floating farm off Pulau Ubin and a kelong off Sembawang. It even farms its own mussels. The fish farm supplies its fish and seafood to hawkers and restaurants like Labyrinth.
While Labyrinth have always been a restaurant that expounds on local flavours, the journey to become more sustainable only began in 2018. Ah Hua Kelong and the owner Tin Kai was one of the first farmers I met in Singapore that changed my perception towards the quality of local produce and the variety of local produce. I remember the first time I met Tin Kai, he showed me green lip mussels that grows naturally on the kelong. You just put a rope in, it comes up, it's there, and I ate it. And I was shocked at the quality because it was so juicy, it was sweet, it was better than any other imported mussels I've tasted. I told him to show me more. He showed me the local flower crabs as well, caught by the fishermen, the lala, neck clams as well, and the fish. And from there on, I was very intrigued, like if Singapore has this in one kelong, what else does Singapore has to offer? So while we pivoted to local produce-centric cuisine in 2018, the homework began in 2017 after meeting Tin Kai. It went on the little treasure hunt around Singapore, going through all the farms and trying to find little tidbits of what's unique, trying to learn from the farmers on how things grow in Singapore, and trying to broaden our knowledge of what the word sustainable means.
In 2017, Ah Hua Kelong opened its own restaurant, Scaled. 90% of its seafood comes from the farm.
So basically, Scale is our own restaurant where we wanted to showcase local produce in ways we see fit with the produce, not just like a French style, Italian style and all that. So what we do at Scale is we focus on 90% of whatever we sell there is actually from our own farm. So be it we farm or we catch, it's all from local waters, that 90% lah. Of course 10%, some people were like prawns, we don't do that here, so you have to acquire those. So Scale is a place where we wanted to showcase. So every time we've been saying, hey, try out Ah Hua Kelong seafood, it's fresh, it's good, but they don't get to try it until they buy it. And then they cook it themselves. So why not we have a place where people can come and then they can taste it straight away. So that was what Scale is there for.
According to the Singapore Food Agency, the 77 leafy vegetable farms here accounted for 14% of total consumption in 2019. 3 hen-shell egg farms made up 26% of total consumption, while the 122 fish farms contributed 10%. At Labyrinth, each table has a map showing some of the different farms in Singapore where the restaurant sources its ingredients.
So Chef Han, obviously we're super excited about it, but what about your customers? And when people come in and they see that map on the table, what kind of response have you gotten?
It was a little bit more difficult at the start when we pivoted to this philosophy. People knew Labyrinth, what we used to do before, but not about local produce. So I think at the start, when customers come in, they're a little bit shocked. Like, oh, where's my Japanese fish? It's a fine dining restaurant, But I guess after a while, they were convinced with the food. Yes, a good produce is only as good as the hands of the kitchen, the chef, my team as well, and as good as the person serving the dish as well, explaining the dish, the inspiration behind it. So I guess after a while, people started being convinced by what we do over here. The last few years have been a lot easier because we started building a reputation as one of the early movers who have done this, and now that the government has jumped on the bandwagon to promote, I'll say that people are a lot more receptive to it, and customers come in, sometimes they don't really care where the produce come from. They're just here for a great meal. And if there's a great meal with local produce, then obviously that is a bit of a surprise factor for them, and hopefully you can change, the mindset.
SFA is working with farms here to transform the Lim Chu Kang area into an agri-food hub. It also has a $63 million agriculture productivity fund to modernize and harness innovative, sustainable technologies and advanced farming systems. While restaurants are doing their part to lower their carbon footprint, you might be wondering what we can do as individuals. The DBS Live More Bank Less Sustainable Lifestyle site looks into the issue of food waste. You can find how-tos, life hacks and quizzes to help you live more sustainably. In our next episode, we take a look at the other side of homegrown as we visit 2 local gardeners growing edibles in their own backyard.